How's everyone doing?
Good.
So I was speaking to Pastor Solomon as to the fact that it's funny how most of the mothers are here but not the kids. And I just wondered what was going on, and he said, well, the mothers have to come and sew first. So I thought, okay, that's a good idea. Okay, so if we go to the book of Genesis chapter 22, I just really want to set up this for the offering. It's important that one of the things, and one of my claims to fame is that when I first started the ministry, I didn't start with anything. I had no money. And the Lord said to me basically that, you know, I didn't need money to start, I just needed to be willing. And He would actually provide for me. I didn't know what that meant until I started doing conferences. I've been doing conferences since 2010. And most times the conferences I do are conferences where I don't charge anybody to attend. And they actually have a full spread. People who have been here have attended some of my conferences, so they have a full spread, but I don't charge anyone, and the Lord has always had to provide for that. I've had like over 100 women, 200 women attending conferences, but I don't charge them because I don't feel that the gospel needs to be charged for. But it's amazing how in my supernatural walk with God, the Lord has always provided, because I've always believed that, you know, once God says, do this, then basically He has made provision for it. So provision always comes from Him, but He always invites us to actually sow and sacrifice what we have for that to happen. I just want to read from Genesis chapter 22. And it came to pass after these things that God did tempt Abraham and said unto him, Abraham, and he said, behold, here I am. And he said, take now your son, your only son Isaac, whom you love, and get him into the land of Moriah, and offer him there for a burnt offering upon one of the mountains which I will tell thee of. And Abraham rose up early in the morning, and saddled his ass, and took 2 of his young men with him, and Isaac his son, and clave the wood for burnt offering, and rose up and went unto the place of which God had told him. Verse 4, then on the 3rd day Abraham lifted up his eyes, and saw the place afar. And Abraham said unto his young men, abide here with the ass, and I and the lad will go yonder, and worship, and come again to you. And Abraham took the wood of the burnt offering, and laid it upon Isaac his son, and he took the fire in his hand, and a knife, and they went both of them together. And Isaac spoke unto his father, and said, my father. And he said, here I am, son. And he said, behold, the fire and the wood, but where is the lamb for a burnt offering? And Abraham said, my son, God will provide Himself a lamb for a burnt offering. God will provide Himself a lamb for a burnt offering. And you know, one of the things I want to encourage us as women is that whenever God calls us to step out to do something, we always look at what we have. We look at what we have. Can we do what God has called us to do with what we have? And most times, no, we can't. Because God's vision and what God calls us to do is greater than anything we would have, you know. But He invites us to partner with Him by actually offering. Sorry. He invites us to partner with Him and by giving what we have. Because when we give what we have, it is an exchange for what He is to do. He said, my son, the Lord will provide Himself a burnt offering. And I read this because it's important for us not to worry about what we have. It's so important for us not to worry. I remember last year when I did the Women's Sacred Calling Conference in London, and we had the building and everything else came to about 3,600. And the Lord said to me, you know, that you need to step into the place. Step in. I had no money. But the Lord told me this is where He wanted me to do the program, and this is what He wanted me to do. But I had no money. So the food and everything else came to about £3,640. And there are about 200 people who attended. And so on the Friday night, I remember it was a Saturday, the Friday night, the management had already written to me saying, oh, we need the money, we need the invoice paid. So I called them to say, you know what? I don't have the money right now, but you know, you need to just let us come in and do what we need to do and what have you. So she went to go and speak to her manager. The manager came back and said that we're going to allow you to do it, but obviously we need the money at the end of the day. So I said, you know what, God, this is not my thing. This is yours. This belongs to you. This is your job. So I know you're not going to put me to shame. So the following morning when we got in, to the place, the management came back to me again and said to me, you know, the bill is quite big, so can we at least have half of it? If you can't pay half of it, then you're not gonna do anything at all. And people have started coming in. We had people to sell books and everything else, so they have started coming in, putting together their books and what have you. And so I was in the room with one of the management, and I said, okay, well, I just thought, let me think quickly here. Would you take a check? And they said, no, we won't take a check. I said, okay, fine. So the lady who works closely with me felt to come in, and she felt to come in to find out what was going on. She said to me, the Lord told her to come in to see if I'm okay. So when she came in to see if I was okay, I told her what was happening, and then she said, okay. So I had to tell one of the management, please, can you just leave so I can speak to my colleague? And so we spoke, and she just said to me there and then, she said, Jackie, I have the money. I have the money. And I said, what are you talking about? She said, well, I have the money. I have the money, you know, the Lord put this money in my account just last week. You know, it was for something, but now I realize that it's for what have you. So after I said, okay, fine. I said, so if you want to pay, go and pay. And I just thanked the Lord. But what the Lord said to me is that he needed me to step into the place. I needed to step in because there was a divine order that was about to happen. And so I've been doing conferences for the past 7 years. And every year, I've never, ever, ever had to pay a dime for the conferences. And that's why, because basically, I give everything I can. And this is a spread for God's daughters, you know, for God to meet his people. So my thing is that I've never allowed the lack of finances to stop me doing what God's called me to do. And when Abraham said, my son, God will provide himself a lamb for a burnt offering. That's how it is with me. God will provide himself what he needs to do to put this spread on, you know, but God needs his people as well. And so you have come here to partake of what has been received so far. And so, you know, I'm just putting the table out to you again. The Lord will provide himself an offering. And so we thank you as we offer today. And I'd like to introduce Annika, who's going to come and do a prophetic dance through the offering.